Hello, it's me. I know it's been a while since I've actually shown my face on here. Let me take these big ass glasses off, move them up. I am working on a picture today, and I also put some makeup on because I know the couple of times that I've shown my face on YouTube for my channel, I have looked terrible. And I didn't care, because I don't care. I'm over 50, I don't care. Like my favorite comedian, Leanne Morgan, she says, you get to a point, you just don't care. But I figured, since I did put some makeup on, that I would do a video and not only talk about a little bit about what's going on in my life, but also show y'all what I'm working on. Let me flip this around so I can show you. Woo. Really? So I'm working on, what I usually do is I work on, let me put my big ass glasses back on so I can see what the crap I'm doing. Okay, what I usually do is I take a photograph that I really like and I screenshot them, and sometimes I save who the photograph is by so I can give them credit. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't know where the crap I got it. But this picture I like. Of course, we've had a cowboy challenge on Pigment lately, and this is a barrel racing girl, or a cutter. Anyway, Western riding girl, obviously. And I did the two, I did Val Kilmer portraying Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Haven't seen Tombstone, it's like the best. Oh, great. If it is on and Jeff and I turn on the TV, we're watching it. Okay, so I'm working on this girl, rodeo rider, however you want to call it. I'm sipping on my second cup of coffee. My daughter is in the process of moving into her apartment for her junior year today. Today is the move-in day. And I feel sort of helpless because I really, not only am I physically kind of can't really help, but she don't want my help. She's a lot like I was at her age. She wants to do it all herself. I don't even think she has people helping her move. But anyway, she's been in and out mostly. She's mostly got everything now, so she might come in and out. But to let y'all know a little bit about what's going on with me. Okay, so anyway, I almost got called. My daughter came in. She's in the process, like I said, of moving. And I was talking and she came in and I was like, it's funny. If your kids find out you have a YouTube channel, it is not cool. It doesn't matter if they're teenagers or preteens or 20-something, which mine are. My daughter's going to be a junior. And my son is a senior. He's about to graduate and get married. So they are 22 and 20. And it's still, maybe it's a little cooler now, but it's still not very cool if your mom has a YouTube channel. Even my husband, when he found out, which was just a couple of weeks ago, even though I'd said something to him before, but he was like, you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, I've had one for a while, so, and then he didn't mention anything else, so it's funny. Anyway, my mother is still in the nursing home and she is declining. They have had to give her extra dose of Lasix or some kind of something to reduce the swelling in her feet. Her feet had ballooned up really badly. And I guess the hospice nurse told her that, she was in the beginning stages of kidney failure, maybe. I don't know. But I'm sure she's going to watch this if she, maybe. But hey, Mom, I just kind of try to take it a day at a time. When I get a phone call from the nursing home, of course, I'm like, what's it going to be? But it's usually, they called last week to tell me that one of the staff members had tested positive for the COVID and that they were self-quarantining at home, but they had not been on my mama's floor, so there was nothing for me to worry about. And they did a chest x-ray also, because breast cancer, which she has stage 4 breast cancer that has metastasized in her bones. But breast cancer also likes to go to the chest, the lungs, and the brain. Brain, bones, lungs, liver. But she does not have the COVID. She didn't care if she has it. I mean, at this point, I just pray for mercy. I just try to live one day at a time. But I don't, selfishly, I do not want her to live like this for a long time and just decline slowly, because basically right now her little world has gotten a lot smaller. She cannot ever take another step unassisted, and that was pretty devastating for her to realize. When she has like a sensor thing underneath her body that if she gets up, even if she sits up and like swings her legs over the side of the bed, it alerts the nurses, because it's like an alert. So she won't, when she first got in the nursing home, she was thriving and she could get up, and she still used her walker, but I mean, she could get up and go to the restroom by herself. She didn't need any assistance. She was very independent, has always been fiercely independent. And then slowly over the period of May, June, July, August, 4 months, really it's been only the last 2 or 3 weeks, her world has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, and less independent and more dependent on the people that work there. So anyway, I have this little thing on my pinky because my pinky is trying to, for those of you who have never watched some of the earlier videos and don't know kind of my story, my hand, I'll take this off so I can show you. When I fell almost 4 years ago. October will be 4 years. I fell off my horse at the day before a show in Conyers, Georgia, which is about 2.5 hours away from here, but very close to Atlanta, thank God. I was schooling my horse. I was dehydrated. I had been out there for too long. I knew I was dehydrated. I was down in water. Anyway, I just took a couple of jumps. My 2 trainers were in the ring. Lost my balance in between 2 jumps. And I just fell, and I fell the wrong way I landed the wrong way. I've fallen a bunch of times, and I've broken and hurt different parts of my body. But this time I was kind of propelled into the air a little bit, and so when I came down, landed on the top back of my head, and I broke my neck, and I was paralyzed for a bit, for about 2 hours, until they could stabilize me. It was terrible. But because of that, long story short, I have lost a lot of I have nerve damage in my right arm, which is my dominant arm, and my hand, as you can see, it's kind of looks funny, but my hand has lost a lot of muscle, is atrophied. I can't do what's it called? My fine motor skills, like as far as drawing or writing, are gone. But I can hold. I'm gonna try to get it without dropping, because I drop things constantly. I can hold my Apple pencil like this, and I use my arm instead of trying to do the like fine motor skills. I use my hand and my arm to paint and draw. I would not be able to do that otherwise. Anyway, I had surgery from the front. You can see like my little scar right there comes down like this. And then I have a big scar down the back. I had surgery from the front and then from the back, and I have like all kinds of hardware in my neck. I had to retire with disability from my job as a school counselor, which I loved, and I absolutely loved my peers, my coworkers. I miss them and still miss them tremendously. That was pretty devastating. I never thought I would have to, well, I just, that wasn't in the plan, but like they say, man plans and God laughs. And I don't think God was laughing, but I never thought that, I would retire at the age of 50, but it's just what happened. And not only did that change drastically, but my horse life, that was kind of my therapy, and that was my sport. It was my love. I'd done it on and off. I've ridden on and off for my whole life, since I was about 8 or 10 years old. And I loved competing at horse shows. When I was 49, I was blessed to have a dream horse of a lifetime. I didn't have him for very long. He's the one I fell off of, but he was perfect for me. He was huge. He was a Hanoverian warm blood. He had been used for about 7 years in the Auburn equestrian team. So they used him to compete and win. And I mean, I just absolutely love that horse. He was perfect. And I had to sell him. We sold him about 3 weeks after I fell, because I knew I was never going to ride again. So my hand, when I draw, because I'm holding it like this, drawing, these two little, my ring finger and my pinky finger, are trying to permanently curl up, and I'm getting cramps in them. And it's all from drawing, because I draw all the time. So sometimes what I do is I wear this, I wear this little pinky brace, and basically it keeps that pinky from curling all the way up, but it also kind of holds my pinky in place on the screen. And then I have another brace that I'm supposed to wear at night that holds my hand straight. Holds my hand straight. Anyway, my hand is jacked up, obviously. My thumb, which used to be, my thumb used to be like this. It's called a hitchhiker's thumb. You know, I had a lot of flexibility in it. This thumb, something happened to it when I fell. I'm almost convinced that it was broken, but it won't straighten up. Like it won't go any further. But I can go like this. Like for the first 2 years after I fell, I was doing a ton of occupational therapy and physical therapy. I could not do that. Like I couldn't scratch my dog. I had no extensor strength. So like I had my grip, but I could not extend my hand. So I'd always have to just kind of, if I wanted to open it, I would have to touch something. I'd have to like, my hand would be like this, and I'd have to touch something and open it up, and then I could kind of hold it open. Anyway, so that's my story. Big Mama, we call her. The kids call her Big Mama. She's, you know, she's not doing well. Some days are better than others, but she's pretty much, anyway, I just try to live one day at a time, and I know that every day is different. Some days are good, and I talk with her, and she's pretty lucid, and some days are not so good. So we're just dealing with that a day at a time. I FaceTime her about every 2 to 3 days and just kind of touch base so I can see her. And they also put a landline in her room at the nursing home because she was kind of, her phone had gotten messed up, or she was having a hard time navigating her phone. So they put a landline in. So I'll always be able to just call that number and she could answer, or somebody can answer for her as it gets worse. But, you know, I just pray for mercy. I pray that she does not have to deal with a lot of pain at the end. I don't know. I don't know what I pray for, but I figure God knows my heart. Anyway, I just, for myself, I try to draw a lot, and that's kind of therapeutic. And then I also have a really good counselor who's retiring at the end of this year, which that sucks. But I've had her, the same counselor, on and off for about 20 years. She's helped me navigate different things. Originally, I started seeing her 20 years ago because I was having issues with anxiety and panic disorder. It was right after 9/11. I don't know if I've talked about that in a earlier video, but it was right after 9/11. I had my kids were 1 and 3. I was home with them, and we were building a house, and I was in the doctoral program. So primed and ready for some issues, some mental health issues. And then 9/11 happened, and my grounding shifted, and I was not okay. It really only lasted, the bad part of it only lasted about 6 to 8 months, but in that time I got really, really sick. I was really afraid to take any medicine. I was just afraid of everything. If any of you have dealt with panic disorder, anxiety disorder, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then you don't, and it's just one of those things. But it got really bad. I'd lost a lot of weight. I'm 5'10", or I was at the time. I've kind of shrunk. I'm like 5'9" now, but I was like 5'10", so I'm tall, and I think normally at the time I was weighing like about 140. I dropped down to, I remember, 119 at my lowest, and I was skin and bones, could not eat. I mean, I tried to make myself eat every day, but I just was so, my metabolism was going just burning. My metabolism was just burning calories. I had, you know, that constant tight pain feeling in my chest. I was just a mess. I could not sleep. Anyway, I finally went and saw this counselor who has been my counselor, like I said, on and off since then. And she helped me tremendously. My mom ended up coming here from she lived in North Carolina at the time, and she ended up coming down here to Alabama and staying with me for about 2 weeks while I was trying to get better and get my feet back under me and helping with the kids. We had just moved into this house, the beautiful house that Jeff and I built. I mean, we didn't build, but we built through contractors. And the kids were about 2 and 4 at that time. I was still working on my doctorate. This was before I started working as a school counselor. Anyway, why did I get off on that tangent? Self-care during my mom's illness. I am doing all I know to do. Talking to people. I have a core group of friends that I talk with. I'm seeing my counselor virtually, which is weird, but I've kind of gotten used to it. But we talk every week, if not every other week, or every 2 weeks at the longest, every week if things are really bad. And if things shift drastically and I need her, I can just text her and then we can talk. She's very much available for me. She knows what I'm going through. Anyway, the Pigment community has been a blessing because I know that a lot of you in the Pigment community have gone through this with your mothers or are at this very moment going through similar situations with your mothers. Dementia, Alzheimer's, different illnesses, etc. My age group, I'm 54. We typically have grown kids, and we're dealing with aging parents. It's just kind of that between generation. It's not fun, but everybody does it at some point. So everybody's situation is a little different, but there's so many commonalities, and I've found the Pigment community to be extremely encouraging and supportive and loving, and I've developed friendships that we communicate outside of Pigment, whether it's on Messenger or emailing. I mean, I just have some really close friends that I've made through Pigment that I've never even met before. It's really cool, and I do feel like y'all are close friends if y'all are watching this. Anyway, I am working on, hang on, I'll show you again. Okay, so I'm working on this picture right here. This is a photograph, and when I see something like this that has really cool lighting, almost the whole picture is black. So when I see it, I'm like, okay, I could do this. I could do this pretty quickly. The picture is black, so all I have to really focus on are the highlights of her hair, the highlights of the outline of the horse, her leg, the horse's leg. I mean, there's really not, it seems like it would be super easy, but then I get into it and I'm like, what in the world was I thinking this was going to be easy? So I've got most of it as far as outlined. That's not bad, right? And what I'm doing now is I'm just getting my oil brush, and I'm working on the outlines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up and finish out the detailing. I could let it go just like that. You get the idea of what it is. It's pretty cool as far as a cowgirl. But I'm going to detail it some more, so hang on. I have pretty severe burning and neuropathy in both of my hands from when I broke my neck, and also I'm starting to have it in my feet. I haven't really discussed that with my doctors yet, because lovely side effects of this medicine that I can't live without, because if I don't have it, my hands burn, sting. It's almost like fire ants. It's just really hard to, nerve pain is just the weirdest. It's really hard to describe if you have never had it. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. It's just the weirdest. But so I have to take the medicine, because if I don't, I'm just in excruciating. Just make it look like she's just riding. She's not competing. That's the thing I like about art is, if you're working from a photograph, because nature, I mean, things are not perfect, but you can make things look better than actually they look in the photograph. I love that. I love being able to do that. All right, so what I think I'm going to do with the saddle pad is I'm going to color most of it in this kind of a pale grayish color, and then I'll go in and do the black lines, because that seems to be maybe easier than, I don't know, it might not turn out to be easy, but least that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna see this. It's not really the right color, so let me darken it up a little bit. And then this saddle pad is gonna go, you'll see it kind of disappear under the saddle. So I'm gonna draw some shadows here. But then I'll go back and do the black lines. I think that might be the way to do it. So like I was saying earlier, a lot of times when I'm working on pieces like this that are silhouetted, I find myself working in negative a lot, which is that's kind of a weird thing to do. But I've gotten kind of accustomed to it for these types of pieces. I did one, I'll just, what I do now is I go to black. So that black is gonna be somewhere down here in my palette. And I'll get a tiny brush and a little bit higher opacity. And then what I'll do is, this is what I do when I'm talking about working in black. I'm carving out with the oil and a black pigment. I'm kind of carving out lines on the saddle pad. So what I'm gonna try to do is carve out the pieces. So got that, so up, this, up. Have black line coming down here, and then coming up. It doesn't have to be perfect. You'll hear me say that a lot, and I'm kind of telling myself that as much as y'all, but it does not have to be perfect. Because when you zoom back out, it will look very cool. So yeah, even if you watch me closely, I have like little muscle spasms. Let's see where my other heart is. Okay, we got a heart here. I can kind of go and fill that in a little bit. Got this heart here. Okay. See? Looks cool. All I really have to do is go back in with a kind of a greater color and make these hearts look a little more like hearts. And it'll be perfect. Where's my other heart right here? I have another one right here. You can hear that. For you to do it, and then you can go back and highlight the parts in a brighter color of paint or oil, which I'll do in a second. Right now I'm just getting this shape right. His nose kind of goes like this. There we go. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just really doesn't take that long. Okay, so this is part of the bridle. So I'm going to make the little hook right here, and then it's got like two pieces that go like this. You can see, and then there's part of his mouth that comes down, and then part of his mouth, his nose. This is what I'm talking about, going back in and like highlighting the part. I'll do that line a little later with a brighter color, but right now what I'm trying to do is get these little tiny detailed. So there's a bright part right there. This line is up underneath his chin. This line right here is made up of just little tiny dots, but that is below his throat, his chin. Go in and like, oop, and make that thinner. Okay. Okay, then his working in black, I'm going in and carving out this line of his neck. And these dots right here are part of his bridle, the reins coming across. The outside of the leg, got that big little heart. Down here. Make this a little wider. Something here and down, I don't know. And then go back into black. And carve out these little places and make it look like shit. And that's his belly, but you can't see the line of it, so you just have to get the illusion of these different parts of the horse. And then it's kind of like, this is one of his legs. This is like his left front leg. So I'm kind of carving that out of the foggy looking part. See? And then there's another leg. And this kind of carves that out. I mean, so far, it's looking pretty good. Yeah? Could really stop right there and it'd be good. I don't really know what I want to do